Good morning. It's Monday, and we are here today for another session on the Influencers Podcast. Today I've got Anindya Ghosh from California. We're talking Los Angeles, California, where the weather is always sunny and mild. And here we are near freezing in Atlanta, Georgia. But hey, we gotta go places to find the best people, and we did today. Welcome to Influencers Podcast, Anindya.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I found your story very interesting as we were talking, and you are doing something that is unique to me. Marketplace aggregator for the laundry service business. You're a concierge laundry service, so I've uh, I've not really been connected to that before, but I want to know all about it. You said you were the Uber of washers. I thought
Yeah,
that was an interesting take on things. So you found ways to make money in different industries, and you've been very successful. So let you talk about what is Washrunner and how did you get started in it?
sure. The Washrunner story is an interesting one. I had come back home from work many years ago, probably around 2008 sometimes. It was, I think this is when the idea popped in my head. I was working at a company called Price Grabber, and the hours were really long there at this tech company. Had come home and I was just frustrated with all the chores I had to do. Like I was having to kind of just keep up with the apartment, keep things clean, keeping up, with your laundry, dishes, and all that. And I just thought, oh, it would just be nice to have help because even as you get educated and get into into your field, it just seems like the work piles on. It just feels like, early in your career, typically it's not uncommon to work a lot of hours when you're younger. That's a pretty common story. When you first start out, you typically hear it that people have to grind pretty hard when they're getting going. So all those chores really start to wear on you because you do need some downtime when you get home. So I just thought, people should be able to get a laundry order picked up because I called a couple of laundromats. They would do the laundry for you, but they wouldn't pick it up. And a lot of the friction, the sort of the annoyance factor there was the fact that you would have to go there. You'd have to carry all your laundry down to your car and then go there. I thought if it was door to door, that would be very convenient. And that's over the years, that's where I developed the idea for Washrunner. I just thought that the option should be there. You don't have to do your laundry you don't have to outsource your laundry every week, but if you're very busy or if you've got something else that you want to focus on, you should have the option of being able to have somebody pick it up.
You started talking about that, and I started thinking you wanted to have Jeannie. I dream of Jeannie, and you wanted her to pop out of the bottle and do the laundry, do the
Exactly.
dishes, and we often have gotten to that in our day and age where you call up DoorDash or Uber Eats and just bring me my food. You
Yeah,
think about what you need, and you just say, "I want it now."
yeah. It's gotten very common. I think those companies are all rapidly growing, and people are getting used to this idea of that instant gratification. So it does bring up some negative connotations, like, oh, am I being lazy? Are people getting lazy? I would actually argue that that's not the case. That what people are really doing is focusing on other things. I think it's great to do things yourself, so you know how to do things and are an independent person. But I think there's that point where you do want to focus your effort, and being able to outsource some things that are chores can help with that.
We don't often do our own plumbing or our own electrician work if something is needed. So
Yeah,
why not the laundry too?
yeah. The laundry, anything that distracts you from getting the maximum amount of benefit from your time is probably worth outsourcing, because in this day and age we are able to do that in this connected world. And on top of that, as long as the platform is set up correctly, you can pay somebody well for their time. and that turns into income for someone else. So rather than you wasting your time doing something that's mundane, you can turn that into someone else's income. They can use that, and then you're able to then focus on whatever you're building, or even just getting some downtime. Like actually having downtime is also very important.
Well, it sounds like a very useful business, and definitely, if you set it up right, profitable. Tell us one of the issues that came up as you were beginning this process. Was there any failure that you learned from that you could share with us?
Yeah, sure. So one of the challenges that we've had is just when you're doing these types of businesses, you're actually coming in a few years after Uber and Postmates and DoorDash and all these other companies have come out. And when they initially came out, they came out with an independent contractor model for all the workers. So I think one challenge has been just making sure that you are compliant with the labor laws, and developing a system that actually, for us, a challenge has been developing a system that actually is more it creates an actual part-time worker classification rather than an independent contractor has been a challenge, because I think that over time you will see that the independent contractor model gets more and more pressure and gets more and more challenged by the government, basically.
Yeah, I experienced that in dentistry, where they allowed us to be independent contractors and hire independent contractors quite a bit in my early career, but they shut down a lot of that in the later years. So government wants more control. So yeah, they're seeking to end the independent contractor status for so many. So that's a wise thought. And how did you overcome that? Just, was there a specific thing you did?
Yes. Well, right now we are still able to use an independent contractor model because we're a gig company, and in California we're under Proposition 22, which is a law that a lot of these gig companies had established through a ballot initiative that they sponsored. So right now we're able to do that, providing that we pay a minimum amount of hourly wage and also have some mileage reimbursement. But going forward, I've been working on a platform that actually allows you to create a gig economy type company, but with actual hourly wage support. So the way that it works is I've discovered that the Square payroll, the company Square, they have a payroll product, and that product actually supports the ability to pay people on an hourly basis, but pay them out the same day. A lot of gig workers are basically people working that want to cash their money out that day. That's a interesting little fact that maybe the broader public doesn't know, but a lot of Uber drivers, DoorDash, you name it, a lot of them are able to cash their earnings out that day. So it is a cash preferred community of people. They're people that basically need money that day to pay a bill or to, just basically to move forward. And what Square actually supports through their API even is a way to pay people that day, but take the taxes and benefits out. So what you're doing is you're now basically making the government happy and also making the workers happy. Right now, the workers are able to do that, but they're able to cash their money out of Uber, but they don't get the taxes taken out. They don't have the support for the actual hourly payroll. But there is a platform out there that we've integrated with that does let you pay people that day, or even for that afternoon. And literally the taxes for that afternoon and the benefits that are actually taken out of the paycheck are taken out as a percentage of whatever you earn just that afternoon.
Outstanding. Well, I know that was a valuable little lesson right there for people to learn. So you did well to help our audience understand how to get around in the gig economy, which a lot of us are probably in there. Are there other lessons that you have seen in your business that make others fail where you succeeded?
Well, I believe that one thing in the tech industry that is such a big industry now, and it's such a magnet for talent. It's for ambitious people, young people. It's a big part of where they want to go now, if they're ambitious. I think that industry. One thing I would be cautious of is always seeking venture capital and looking for venture capital so you can build the next unicorn. I think that unicorns are rare for a reason, and they're called rare for a reason. There's not that many of them. So I think that one thing to potentially seek out is creating what's called a lifestyle business. I think it's okay to build a very successful regular business. It doesn't have to be the next Google or Facebook or Uber. It can actually be a company that potentially even uses technology, but it doesn't have to have venture capital. You could actually potentially work with friends and family or bootstrap and grow on your own. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, and that's very underrated. Another thing that I think that is underrated is keeping your day job. When I've worked with venture capitalists or when I've worked with accelerators and other types of financial people within the tech industry, there's a big trend to where they want you to either drop out of college or quit your job. I think that those certainly that certainly can open up your time and let you focus on what you're working on, but it might be good to hold off on that until you have traction. So figure out when and where you have a path to growth, when you have your acquisition costs figured out, and when you have a channel that you can grow in, and you've got a proof of concept that whatever you've built, people want, and it's enough that it gives you income that you could live on. It might be better to hold off on dropping out of school or quitting your job until you know that. Once you know that, then maybe after a while, after you've proven that out, then it might be worth it to take that plunge. But there's a lot of people out there advising that people quit their jobs and that like their job is a bad thing. But I don't think so. Your job can actually be something that even helps you fund your day-to-day life while you're building your business. So it's almost like your boss is like your first investor in a way. So I think that that's an important thing to keep in mind. And then thirdly, I think if you're in a vacuum, if you're just by yourself, if you're alone, that's usually a problem. What is better is to have a potential business partner. Anytime you have a business partner or like a technical partner in your company, that's a sign that just one other person has really sanctioned what you're doing. Just that one other person that's a big leap forward. And then also mentors and advisors. You could say, like in the tech industry, it's common to describe advisors as people that might even get some shares in your company just for advising you. So they might have some percentage that they can earn out of your company over time based on their experience and their contacts. So I think having partners, mentors, and advisors, those are important. So if you're in a vacuum, if you're just by yourself, it's usually I've pretty much learned it's common to look at that as a red flag.
And Anindya, that's three very good pieces of information that people could process. I was thinking when you said the first one about what my wife was talking about, she said that she knows somebody who works 1 month a year, and they bring in $250,000 for growing flowers, and they only harvest them 1 month a year.
Mm-hmm.
And they sell the flowers that they produce for $4 each, and they sell right at a million flower. I mean, 1/4 of 250,000. So what is that? 60, 70,000 flowers total.
Yep.
They only process them one time a year. That's enough to have a little bit of a good living, you know. So
Yep.
you don't have to become a huge corporation to be very successful these days.
No, and I think if you just manage your expenses and are and can actually control your expenditures and keep things a bit modest, what it does is it gives you freedom. Like you're able to now, this person who has this flower company is living on their own terms and making quite a bit of income doing it.
Yeah, I asked Sheila. I said, "Why wouldn't she work 2 months and make 500,000?" And
Right.
she said, "It's not her need. She doesn't want it. It's just she gets enough to get by, and then she has a lot of freedom."
Yeah.
Everybody has their own dream, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Tell me about yourself. What motivates you internally to keep going and growing and doing different things and putting your finger in all the different pies?
Yeah. Sure. So just the opportunities. You meet people from, especially being in LA and certainly in Atlanta as well. You meet people from all over the world. If you've traveled at all, you've seen if you've traveled outside of the U.S., you've probably seen that there's a lot of nice places out there, but they don't quite have as many opportunities as you have here. It just works. There's just so much at your fingertips here. The people, the energy, how motivated Americans are. So just living here, just the fact that you have all this opportunity in a country where you can do so much is very motivating. You just want to take advantage of that and use that opportunity to do some good. So yeah, like I think that the idea of just the idea of that we have so much at our fingertips and have so much that we can do in this country is very motivating. And then also being able to create something positive. So let's say you're able to create some jobs, or let's say you're able to provide good service for people. That's generally pretty positive. There certainly is room, and people do abuse things, but for the most part, if you're creating some work for people or if you're providing a good service, that's generally pretty positive. So just having an impact that is positive also motivates me.
Yeah, I always felt good about hiring 20, 30 people at my dental office. It's like if I didn't show up to work and they didn't have a boss, then they couldn't go to work. So I felt good about just being there, providing for 30 families. It
Yeah,
was just,
that's a lot of people that you were helping.
yeah, that's a good feeling, you know, if you can
It is.
actually be a source. Tell me about your company's motto. Wash runners. What is the motto you have?
Yeah, so our motto is we give people their time back. So we think that in in this connected world, your time is it is money. It's a cliche, but that is truer than it's ever been. Literally, right now, you can get online and just find more work, start an e-commerce store. There's just so many things that you can just do right from your computer. I think it's true. It's more true than ever. I think it's always been true that your time is money, but yeah, that's our motto, is to give people their time back, so that they're able to use their time the way that they want to use it, rather than doing chores.
I got that. Now you don't own any laundry services yourself. You're what you call a marketplace aggregator. So tell us more about that, and what are the secrets that allow you to step in and become a valued middleman?
Sure. So yeah, we are a middleman. We do provide the logistics, so there is some actual, we are actually doing the actual transportation itself. That's done by laundry assistants who come in and pick up the laundry and essentially set expectations and advocate for the customer at the laundromats. So our secrets would be, one is just instantaneous responses. Even if you're using some technology, I would imagine AI would be. There's AI platforms out there that can most likely also help with this. But just being able to instantly respond to people is a little secret that all these app companies have. Just that instant gratification is what people demand. So it's been something that we've been able to personally see. So I would really want other entrepreneurs to also recognize that, since I'm sure that they are, they do. But I just wanted to confirm that people do love an instant response to an inquiry, just even if it's just like a quick touch base when they're asking if their service is started up, just quickly responding. It creates a what you could call a flywheel effect. It's just the fact that they get that response gives them confidence to continue to use your service. Another thing is just doing really fast service. So something that people can get done and get back very quickly. Again, that ties into that instantaneous nature of what people want. But in a competitive world, if you're able to provide that, that's what lets you enter the market and succeed, is just the ability to do things quickly. For example, I know that it's getting pretty common to have the option of having a doctor come to your house. You can use, there's literally apps that will let doctors come to your house. So that's kind of in that same in that same spirit of what I'm talking about. Just that instant gratification of having somebody, a mobile service, coming to your house. It's very common to see dog groomers all over. And I would imagine, thirdly, that they are using the model of what you call, I'm sorry, just spacing on the actual word, but it's where you actually have it's where you actually are able to now remembering the term. It's last minute, last mile. So a lot of these companies, they call themselves last mile, but I actually call it last minute, last mile. The reason people order an Uber is because they typically didn't plan, and they're just they're ordering at last minute. That's why people order Ubers. Is from my analysis and research over the years of these similar types of companies, that's what I've learned. So it's not just last mile, it's also last minute. So if you can actually be ready, if you can have whatever platform you're building be ready to serve people last minute, that actually there's just a lot of demand there. So I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that already know this, but it's typically instant gratification, instantaneous communications, and last minute. People, and the reason I say that is because typically you're able to get some pricing power at that last minute. When people are really needing something at that last minute, they tend to be willing to pay. So, unless you have billions of dollars of or millions of dollars of venture capital, you're typically having to make sure and watch your margins. So that can help with that.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I was really interested in getting something a while back late at night, and I called two places. They were not open. I called the third place, and they were open for another half an hour, and I got in and got the business, to respond. And I know last minute does make a difference. If you're there when people want you, you're going to do a lot more business.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a world where there's a lot of opportunity and competition, I think taking advantage of these opportunities gives people an edge.
Yeah, I like it. That's three very good things. So why somebody would use your services? You already named it. You respond quickly, and you do a lot of same day service, I understand.
Yeah, we do. We do same day service, and we actually do watch over things. We actually take responsibility for the service. For example, with Washrunner, with our service, when we're doing laundry pickups, we take the laundry to laundromats that we've vetted out and have developed relationships with. And what we can do is, since we have that knowledge built into our platform of who does a good job with laundry, we're able to give people the confidence that their laundry will be done well, that's going to come back nicely folded, and it's It's very clean. There's the soap. Everything is done according to the customer's wishes. For example, if they want hypoallergenic detergent, you don't want to get a bunch of fragrance all over your clothes because that's going to create skin irritation. So we actually take responsibility and have some level of control over the quality of the service because we've been doing this over time. And rather than having the customer go figure it out themselves and risk having somebody do a bad job or lose their clothes, losing items is not uncommon. We've already vetted out providers that don't do that.
Now, do you market yourself to the provider, the laundry services, as part of their marketing arm? Do you get a better break for your customers or for yourself because you are their marketing arm?
Yes, we do. We have that type of relationship with some laundromats, and we do get a favorable service. They'll actually prioritize our orders because they know that we're going to be coming in every day, and the fact that we have a marketing platform is an additional load off. In addition to the logistics that we provide, so that yes, they do provide us some advantages from that.
And you're also their financial collection agent.
Yeah. So we have the typical thing that you see where you file your payment information online into an online wallet. We actually have that with our customers, and we're able to bridge that for the laundromats as well. And we have just to get a little bit technical, we have the ability to secure the payments and make sure that the payments will come through, and that creates confidence with the laundromat, who then we pay using our own expense cards. So our laundry assistants will have like a company card because a lot of laundromats do use debit and credit cards for payments in their wash and fold service. So we're able to, on one side of the platform, create a wallet with the customer and secure the payment on that side, and on the other side, provide an instant transaction upon whenever the laundromat wants it during the process with a company card, with an expense card.
So the benefits for you and the laundry service people mount up. This is a win-win for everybody, sounds like.
Yes, yeah, it's a win-win for everybody, and the real thing that you want to do as you scale is find efficiency. So let's say as you grow, you're able to for example, aggregate more orders or have a better route management where you're running more efficient routes. With that type of scale, you will see that you'll be able to actually eventually get more efficient and then pass on savings to the customers. And those efficiencies are very beneficial as well.
Absolutely. Tell us who your ideal client would be.
Sure. So our ideal client is pretty much what you would call a Henry, a high earner, not rich yet. They're very common to find in any concentrated population area, like a mid-sized city or a larger city, or even a smaller city, just wherever you have a lot of apartments. So, for example, in Los Angeles, you have a lot of people that are making good money, but they still live within the city, live in an apartment. They're at a place in their career where they're making money, but they don't have a house yet. I think once they get that house, then you can imagine you would have your washing, just a very specific example for our company of how this can change is once these people advance and get houses, then they would have a washing machine and a dryer in their house. So they could have a housekeeper come over if they wanted to outsource it and get those favorable rates. We're more typically focused almost to that exact customer that Uber goes after, that DoorDash goes after, that Postmates goes after. It's those Henrys, people that live in apartments, they're making good money, but need convenience. So it's an apartment dweller that has a good income in a high concentration populated area.
Yeah, and you do dry cleaning also, correct?
We do, yeah. We don't advertise it outright, but that request does come in. So when we do get that request, we do support it. We do work with dry cleaners. Since the laundry, it was designed to be a very fast same day service. We don't advertise the dry cleaning as much because usually the dry cleaning is something that takes a few days.
Gotcha. Now, how do you find your clients?
Well, typically I've got a background in the ad tech space and have done paid marketing, online advertising to find clients. And that's been one way. The other way has been to actually do B2B direct sales. So where you use data scrapes online to find contact information. For example, we do some laundry for businesses, and that's been a big part of our success, has been doing laundry for physical therapy offices, yoga studios, gyms, small practice medical facilities. We've done laundry for businesses, and one of the ways that we've done that has been to find them through data scrapes online. So where you get online and you use some tools. For example, one tool that I can name that would be very beneficial to entrepreneurs to know about is apollo.io. You can find this tool to find people's contact information in businesses. So we actually were able to use tools like that to find emails and phone numbers, so we could reach out to businesses to find B2B clients. So that's another way that we've done it. One thing that is more in development that we've been wanting to do more and more of is what's called B2B2C. It's where you go from business to business to consumer. And the reason I really like that is because typically with successful businesses or in business ecosystems that you see things working, you typically will see retail distribution of some kind. There's some sort of a partnership with another organization that has credibility that will push your product into their audiences. And for us, one would be apartment owners. So apartment owners, management companies, anybody involved with apartments, multifamily. Those are people that we want relationships with because we'd like to partner with them to be able to provide their tenants with specific service.
Yeah, I like the idea of B2B2C. We typically would use fusion marketing concepts to match my database with another service provider's database and switch marketing efforts to each other's database.
Yeah, I think that is just a huge unlock for other entrepreneurs. And I think it also gets you thinking differently about what you want to start. I think that the idea that you can just open something up and have it go direct to consumer is challenging. If you look, at least in the tech industry, there's this whole a world of what's called DTC, direct to consumer, and those companies have not fared as well. But if you look at the Amazons of the world and people that sell on Amazon, you see that there's plenty of people selling on Amazon out there. You might not hear about them a lot, like in the news, but they're out there making money. And I'm sure you probably, many of the entrepreneurs on your show are going to know somebody that, or they're already doing it themselves. So that retail distribution is that distribution model just seems to work.
I'll tell you what, you hit one nail on the head when you said some of those direct to consumer things don't work. There's a big bankruptcy that happened this last month. Smile Direct, which sells Invisalign directly to consumers, went bankrupt after being valued at $3 billion just a few years ago. They tried to circumvent the dentist, and what happened was they went belly up, and a lot of investors lost their money. You got to be careful when you go direct to the consumer without the essential person in the middle. The dentist was pretty essential in maintaining quality control.
Yeah, I think that it brings up issues, but there is always that opportunity of having the option for consumers to come directly to you. But I would imagine that is one of the key reasons they failed, is because they failed at creating, or they wanted to create a model that circumvented the dentist, whereas the real secret, or the real source of success for a company like Invisalign is that distribution network. So they literally ignored the thing that made their competitor successful,
Yeah,
rather than maybe potentially taking another take on it, maybe reinventing it somehow. But that retail distribution is something that shows up in successful companies.
absolutely. So you've talked about different platforms that you've used in terms of connecting and finding customers. Is there any particular company or platform that you like to rely on?
Yeah, it's no secret that it's common to use the Facebook ads and the Google ads. I think that those platforms are commonly used, and I'm sure many of your viewers already use them, and they do work. They help get some customers, and they also help you gather data and get your data from your customers, or on your customers, what type of customers, and where prices might fall at for whatever you're selling. But they are costly and are not therefore they're not super scalable. I think that another model that's really effective is influencers, working with influencers directly to have them pitch your product, and actually just organically place your product, maybe a product review, an unboxing, uh, a service review where they actually review your service on their channel, is a really effective way to get yourself out there. And then another model is just using something like Apollo. So using a data scraping, a data providing tool to find contact information to where you can reach out directly to distribution partners, to potential B2B clients, is really powerful. So yeah, just reaching out to influencers directly, obviously Google and Facebook, and then a little secret that's been really effective for myself and a lot of colleagues that I know has been Apollo.io.
That's a good tip. Thank you for that. You mentioned pay digital, and you use some of that. How much revenue percentage would people typically dedicate to that in your service industry?
Oh, that's a great question. So for us, it's been, we've, definitely been putting 10 to 20% in. That might be a bit high. But for us, it's been 10 to 20% of the revenue is going direct, of the revenue itself is going into digital media. That's because we're in a pretty aggressive mode, and we're and we are a scrappy company that's looking to get larger. Don't recommend that for everybody. I don't think that's a one size fits all thing that you would need to spend that much, but that's how much we do.
Sure. Well, I think you're doing a pretty good thing, and you're in a niche where there's not a lot of competition yet. So the people that are doing what you're doing, you can pretty much be nimble. You can take pretty aggressive stance and fight for your space, and you're not going to have a lot of competition. So I guess the ad dollars are fairly cheap.
Yeah, they're not terribly expensive. For example, we could just to give you a specific example, just on Google, the customer acquisition can be expensive. You might end up spending $100 on a customer, but if they stay with you with a service like ours, they could be worth thousands. So if you just provide that, if you create a good service that is something repeatable, then the ads are a very negligible part of that, because the customer's value might be in the thousands, whereas you purchase them for 50, 100, $120.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. And a lot of times lifetime value of a customer is where we should be looking when we're advertising, but some people look only at what they get on the first hit.
Yeah, and it depends on the type of business you have. Obviously, if you're doing a consumer, if you're doing like a CPG product, like a consumer packaged good, or if something is, like a one-off, like a wedding, it's, people typically don't rehire wedding photographers
Hopefully
repeatedly.
not.
Hopefully, if things are, you would imagine that if things are going well, that they wouldn't. But yes,
Only if you have a Mormon or Catholic family with lots of kids.
right. Yeah, exactly. So I think once you get into a family, connected with a family like that, that's probably there's going to be a lot of references there. But yeah, like I think that's another thing for your audience to think about is if if you're doing the consumer package thing, or if you're doing like a one-off type service, you're going to have to figure out the pricing and the marketing costs right with that one transaction. Whereas if you create a repeatable service, like some sort of like a health and beauty type thing, where or like a wellness service, something where you're repeatedly meeting with the customer potentially once a month or even more, then what that does is that really changes the calculus for what you can pay in terms of customer acquisition.
Oh, absolutely. Well, my favorite thing is a subscription service of a digital product. Once you produce it, there's no more cost, particularly, and let it go from then on. Hey, what do you think is we're getting close to the end of our time, so I want to go through a quick group of questions that are important to our audience. How do you convert clients to brand ambassadors? You mentioned them.
Yeah, sure. So I think one way to do it is, for example, to work with a specific type of client, to seek out clients that have influence. Maybe people, just like you're doing on your show, you're seeking out people for your influencers podcast. We would even seek out influencers as laundry customers and have them potentially in exchange for some sort of an incentive or reward, be able to promote the service to their audience. And then the other way to look at that is anybody can have influence now, and you don't need a lot. You don't need to find somebody that's got thousands or tens of thousands or more followers. You could literally find somebody that just is potentially maybe the groundskeeper or like the apartment building manager for an apartment, and we could actually have them be an ambassador within the building, maybe help us aggregate the orders and do a bulk pickup, and in exchange for some sort of a reward, like some sort of a discount for their particular order. So just having either people that are influencers or just turning somebody into an influencer who might have a built-in audience just organically.
Now, your one limitation is that you're a local service. You really have to be focused on a geographic map to be successful.
Yes, and that is one of those things where your audience should really think long and hard about what type of business they want to get into. For example, you were just mentioning SaaS. The great thing about those companies, you could literally have clients in Southeast Asia. You could have clients all over the world just purchasing your software. There might be some regulatory tax and payment issues that you have to work around, but nowadays with Stripe and things like that, there's you can literally, even using something called DEEL, you can literally even work with contractors overseas. So it's in a global world, those service software as a service companies can be very scalable. For a company like mine, we're having to operate locally and kind of actually scale the old-fashioned way. So it just depends on what you want to do. This is for me, Washrunner is a problem that I've just been curious to solve. Can we use tech at a local level to create benefit, and then basically create instances of that and replicate ourselves into other markets, just like you would have done with any business,
Yeah, I immediately saw that Washrunner was the forerunner of maybe a whole group of personal service. And, who knows, they can even piggyback with each other. Who knows? It's going to be something extremely interesting to watch as you grow. Tell me this, what do you want to be remembered for when it's all said and done?
I think I'd like to be remembered for being independent. So just having an independent spirit where I went off on my own and tried to do things my way and on my own. I don't want to. I didn't want to really just. I don't want to sound bad here, but basically, I didn't want to just take what other people were saying as what I should do as the right thing for me. And the reason I say that is because I think that that might be what other people feel, that other people in your audience might also, be getting a lot of feedback information from their peers, from their from their teachers, from their bosses, from whoever, like, you should do things this way. But actually, nowadays, with so much at our fingertips, with so many advantages, so much technology, you can be independent. You can act and do well. So it would be really wonderful to not only be independent, but to be successful at it, and to show people that they can do that too.
Yeah, I really agree with that. Back in the day when I was in my first location, my first practice, I had a plaque on the wall, and it was about 17, 18 green apples with one red apple in the center, and the caption said, "Dare to be different."
Yep. Yeah, I think that's great.
So how can we support you and get in touch with you? If we're in LA, how can we use the services of Washrunner?
Sure. So you can just hop online and go to washrunner.com and either just call in from there. You can just call the number from there, or you can just sign up right online and just place your order right through the web.
Absolutely. Perfect. We look forward to people connecting with you through that. And what would you say about your guest experience being here on the Influencers podcast around the world?
It's been very exciting. I really appreciate that you reached out and wanted to interact, and I've really enjoyed the back and forth. You've had some really great advice and some great insight, and the supporting comments are very motivating.
Good deal. Well, glad you were here. You were a treasure trove of good business advice. Not many people thought they would come in and learn about concierge laundry service and then have something as a takeaway. But I would say that you gave as many good takeaway points as any speaker we've ever had. So your business experience shows up, and I know that you're going to do much more than this one business. You have many ideas that are going to be worth following. I'm going to give you the final word before we close our show to the audience.
Sure. So just stay independent, and just realize that what everybody is telling you can be great information. Like the people want you to live a certain way, get a job, and go down a certain path. And I think that's great advice, but it's always great to also take that information, process it, and then try to align it with what you're wanting to do, what your values are. And you might find that you might be an entrepreneur, that you might want to actually go out on your own. And nowadays, with all of the things that we have at our fingertips, there's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur. So I think keeping that dream alive, keeping that door open to entrepreneurship is really important.
Thank you for sharing all that. That was right down my alley too. Anindya, the idea of freedom rings true, and I even put a little QR code on my picture of the Influencers podcast here, which is the way to reach our different SaaS products. As you may have guessed, we have a lot of SaaS products and making them available. My digital business card is where that QR code goes if you're taking a picture of it. If you're not taking a picture, you can go to this particular URL, the owu.me card. And on that card, I really highlight two things. One is my Influencers podcast. You can find all the versions of the podcast, the episodes. You can also find out about what we're doing with our SaaS products. Software as a service, we have one of the most advanced video conferencing softwares, and it's just come out, being launched this year, so you know how good it is. It's got all the AI built into it. And so with each of these different products, the AI technology allows us to create custom QR codes, custom links that are, put your name on it, whatever you want. And we can track better than anybody else. We can track the business, what comes to a website. We can geofence the information that goes in or comes out. So there's a lot of things we can do. And if you like fast cars, we've even got a connection to the Fast Cars Majlist in Dubai. So there's a lot of fun things we're doing, and I just want to bring that out to the audience. And if you're part of the Influencers Podcast, you probably know all these things. You probably have seen a couple of these, and they all lead to the thing that we call freedom. One of the hallmarks of our company is that we're a great affiliate marketing company. And so we have the opportunity for anybody listening to have a secondary income source based on selling SaaS products. And so it's a good B2B to C, as you might say. Once I get an influencer involved, they'll usually tell all their friends and business partners because of what's available. So yeah, it's been fun having you on today. Thank you for participating. I don't think there's any more better service than to call up somebody, get your clothes washed, and then have them brought back to you. That's great. Thanks for sharing, Lindy.
Thank you.
All righty. So all you guys on Influencers Podcast Nation out there, all around the world, 190 countries, we'll talk to you a little later. Have another episode coming up in just a few minutes. So hang in there. We'll see you soon.